Hi, this is A. Wesley. That ain't who tells it like a TIS. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like my channel, please subscribe. The topic I'm going to talk to you today about is the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 14, episode 16. It's expensive to be she. It started off with Candy taking Ace to the acting lessons, to acting classes because he wants to be an actor, and and she took him to the acting school, and she said that this would be a good way for him to get training, and so they kind of rehearsed a commercial. Ace kind of messed it up a little bit at first, but then he finally got it at the end, and the instructor told him, "Good job, good job." And then it switched to the next scene, and the next scene was with Drew at her house. Drew was at her house talking to her son, and she asked her son, "Did he do his schoolwork?" And he said he hadn't done it yet. She said, "Why you hadn't done it yet?" He said, "Well, I'm going to get to." She said, "Yeah, you get to your schoolwork. You got to get your schoolwork." And then he left out of the room. And then it was Drew and Ralph in the room, and they were talking about his book and his photo shoot and stuff like that. And so she did talk to him about giving Sheree and Marlo a party, since giving Sheree and Kenya a party, since Marlo's birthday was coming up, and since nobody gave Kenya a birthday present or a birthday gift on the trip. And so she said she wanted to give a birthday thing. And then she told Ralph that they're gonna present it as a goodwill party, a good wish party for her, a goodwill party for her, because if she give them a birthday party together, somebody won't show up. And Ralph said, "You sure that's a good idea?" She said, "Yeah, because if I do it like that, like I said, nobody, one person might not show up." He said, "Okay, okay." So Drew said Ralph helped her get all the decorations and stuff, and was helping her with the party and stuff. And then it switched to the next scene where Marlo was at her house talking to the boys, and she asked the boys how do they feel coming back to the house, and they said they was glad to come back to Marlo's house. And then Michael chimed in and said, well, he was just glad to come back to a house where he could take a bath in a clean bathroom. And I said, why do you have to say that? And then a lot of people were saying that too online. Why was they trying to make like Marlo's sister wasn't doing a good job? To me, Marlo's sister was doing a good job. She had 4 kids of her own, and she was working a nurse. The nurse is a good job, but it's also a hectic job because I used to work at a hospital. But anyway, back to the show. And then Marlon say, well, you understand why you had to go to your aunt's house, because you had to follow the rules and do discipline. It's not good to follow the rules. She said, I'm glad that y'all following the rules now and keeping your room clean and doing this and doing that. And then it switched to the next scene where Sonia and Sheree showed up at Drew's house. First it was Sheree, and she came to check up on Drew, and then Sonia came in, and then Drew was laying down on the sofa, and Drew was saying that she had took some pain medication, and because they asked her how she was doing, she said, well, I took some pain medication, so I might be a little bit out of it. And so Drew said, well, I was not there at the dinner. What happened at the dinner? And then Sheree brought up about what happened at the dinner between Sonia and Kenya, and how Sonia and Kenya got into it because Kenya had said that Ross was acting aggressive at the first dinner that night. Said, ooh, that happened. I hate I missed it, but all that happened. And then Sonia said, well, one thing about it, Kenya got me in my place. Kenya put me in my place. I was saying, yeah, you picked the wrong person to try to get you a little shine. Sonya, you were doing bad with Drew, but why you gonna try to go to Kenya? Kenya is much tougher than Drew. So, honey child, you feel that both attempts to try to throw shade at certain people, and then she said, yeah, she said, I'm gonna call. And then Drew said, you gonna call Kenya now? She said, yeah, I'm gonna call Kenya right now. And so she called Kenya, and Kenya said, hello, who is it? And she said, Kenya, you know who this is? This is Sonia. And she said, Sonia, what you want? She said, I want to talk to you about what happened at the party, about how you said Ralph was aggressive. She said, Drew, She said, Kenya said, Sonia, I'm asleep. I'm asleep. I'll call you back later. I'll call you back later. Hung up on the phone, and then Sheree looked at Sonia. Sonia looked at her, and then Sonia said, "I'm rest B. Not B. The word B. She said the B word, and then and then after that they looked and said, "Oh, Drew is so tired. She was asleep on the sofa." Drew was sure asleep on the sofa, and then they let me get some water right quick. I'm back. The next scene is when Sheree says that she hired Rowan as a fashion coordinator to help her with the fashion show, and she told Rowan that she invited a friend, and her friend was kind of on the shady side, so watch out for her. And Rowan said, "Well, I can handle anything." And so they got ready to go and sit down and go over the decorations and go over the venue and the models and stuff. And so Kenya showed up, and Kenya said she was sitting down, and she said, "Where are the models? Where are the models?" And then Rawan said, "Well, she doesn't have a budget for models." And then she said, "She don't have a budget for models. She's supposed to get her." Said, "We got models here. We got models here." So they brought the models out, and they were modeling. And then Kenya said, she looked at him and said, "Ooh, he looks all right. He looks good." He looks like, and then she said, "Come here, you." And he said, you don't have your contact information on the back of your photo. You're supposed to have your contact information back on there in case you want to come back and contact you." He said, "Well, I could write it later." She said, "No, you already have written on here," and stuff like that. And she was saying, "Well, where y'all got the runway situated, it don't look like a runway. People gonna be seeing stuff from the side. It's supposed to be straight down the middle and stuff." And then so Rawan said, "This is not my first rodeo. I know how to do a fashion show. I know how to do this." And then Kenya said with her shade, "Don't look like it. Look like an amateur stuff." And she said, "Well, like I said, I know how to do it." And then Rawan said, "Well, you do it your way and stuff." And Kenya said, "Yeah, and I'll do it my way." And then she said, Rashawn said, "Okay, okay." And Kenya said, "I know it's okay." And then it switched. To the next scene where Drew and her caterers, with Drew and her caterers and stuff was showing all the pretty black and gold decorations that they had. They looked good, and Drew had on her gold dress with her silver boot thing and going around. And then the doorbell ring, and Ralph went to get the door, and it was Sheree. And Sheree walked up and she saw the decoration. Said, "Ooh, this look nice. This look pretty. This look okay." She said, "Yeah." And then said, "Well, I want to talk to you about something." Sheree said, I'm looking around. I'm looking around. I'm trying to see everything." She said, "Well, Sheree, I already got the invoice for you. Here go the invoice right here." She said, "I'll look at it later." She said, "No, I just want to show you the invoice for the part that you have to pay for." And then so Sheree came back and said, looked at the invoice and said, $700. You didn't have to pay no $700 for no balloons." She said, "Well, I kind of want a little bit extra because Drew said I kind of want a little bit extra because I wanted you to have a good party and stuff." And she was saying, "Half of this stuff that you got up in here, I wouldn't about it. I wouldn't about it, and I ain't have no input in it." And Drew said, "Well, I tried to get you to get an input, but you never did call me back. You never did get back in contact with me. So I had to go on. That's why I had to go and do what I had to do to get the party together." And then so she said, "Okay," and then we'll talk about it later. Next thing you know, Sonya showed up, and Sonya liked the decorations, and everybody else showed up for the party. Marlo, Sonya came, and then the other girls came, and then Kenya was getting out of her car, and she was on her way coming. And then she saw Marlo coming, and her child Kendra looked at Marlo and shut the door. And then Marlo came back up, and then Marlo said like she didn't see me coming. And then Ralph opened the door again, and then Ralph let Marlo in. And then Marlo said, "Well, ooh, this look real so pretty. Going good. Ooh, this look real so pretty. Get well, boy, looks so good and stuff." And then that's when they let the cat out the bag and said that it wasn't for Drew. It was for Kenya and Marlo. And then Marlo said, Why y'all had to get, I mean, like Marlo, Kenya say, why they had to give me a birthday party to Marlo? They know I don't like Marlo. Why come they couldn't give me a separate party? I said to myself, honey, child, Bravo wasn't paying for no two separate parties. That's why they put that party together like that. Bravo wasn't paying for no two parties. Because the reason why I know, because later on in the scene, Sheree gonna tell her you already had $1,000. So what it was, whatever money that extra that she put for the party. Sheree wasn't paying for it anyway. But anyway, back to the scene, and so they was all sitting down at the table and stuff, and then so one of I think it was Marlo's cousins got up and was talking about Marlo is such a lovely lady, a good person, nice person. That's why she don't understand why Marlo was arguing with Kenya. She told Marlo, don't be arguing with her, just be the bigger person and keep on. And then so Kenya said in her confessional, was this a party or was this an intervention? And it seems more like an intervention to me. And then next thing you know, Marlo said she was grateful for her friends and her cousins for coming to the party and stuff like that. And then I don't know if it was Marlo's cousin or one of her friends and say, well, what exactly is the problem with you and Marlo? And Kenya say, well, Marlo kept telling me I was lying about me being sick, and I told her I wasn't sick and why I couldn't come to her first event or party. And then she started talking about me, calling me names and stuff, and they started having all kind of flashbacks and stuff, and that really hurt my feelings. Then Marlo said, all the stuff that you didn't, she said, we talked about each other, Kenya, and then all the stuff that you didn't say about me over the years hurt me too. And then Kenya said, oh, no, that little stuff I said about you didn't hurt you. And then the shady production showed flashbacks of what Kenya had said about Marlo, had called Marlo a prostitute and told Marlo that stop getting her love affair. Maybe she'd get a man of her own. She wouldn't be in her business. And so next thing you know, they kept on arguing back and forth. And then Drew said, "Wait a minute, hold up, time out, time out." And then Kenya said, "Yeah." I mean, not Kenya. And then Sonya said, "Yeah, yeah." And then Drew said, "Mama, come over here and pray for the ladies, pray for the table." So Drew mama came over there and prayed for the ladies and prayed for the table and stuff like that and stuff like that. And next thing you know, Drew said, "Let's play a game." And they said, "Play a game." Said, "Yeah, let's play a game. We're gonna ask some questions, and it's gonna be kind of a shady game." And Candace said, "A game." So it's gonna be a kind of a shady game. I'm gonna ask some questions, and then and you can pick the right answer. The person who go too low, go low below the belt, well then they gotta take a drink. If me and Sheree feel like it's really below the belt, they say okay. So Drew read the first question about what if a person calls somebody's husband aggressive. Everybody looked around at the table. Everybody looked at Sonya. Sonya said, "Yeah, Kenya, I didn't like the fact that you called my husband aggressive. My husband wasn't aggressive. My husband just taking up for me. You wish you had a man like that, baby, honey, child. What you call thought she had a moment." Kenya looked at Sonya, rolled her eyes, and shook her head. And I was saying, "Yeah, I don't blame you, Kenya. This girl been trying to get a moment for I don't know how long on Roha Sonya have." But anyway, they say next question, and then Drew said, what if somebody agreed to help you pay for a party and then they reneged on it and didn't pay for it? And what you think they should do? Candy chimed in and say, call them out. And then Drew said, okay, call them out, Sheree, well, what if that person was so busy so busy planning her fashion show that she didn't have time to be a part of the party? And they were saying, but still, you're supposed to pay whoever that person is. Candace said, Sheree, how is the planning going for your show? And then Sheree said, not good. Not say, what you mean not good? She said, well, she said, I got one package she said, I got one outfit of my. Said, I got one outfit of my fashion show here, but the rest of my stuff is stuck in Alaska. They say stuck in Alaska. Then Shady Production showed a big picture of a map where Alaska was coming way by, and so after that, and then they were saying, well, can't you get some outside designers? Can't you get somebody to work for you and stuff? And then Marla say, Candy, can't you help her? Don't you know some people? Candy say, well, yeah, if she wants you. And then so Kenya chimed in and say, ladies, don't all y'all ladies at this table want Sheree to win? Everybody raised up their hand. And then then they said, Sheree, yeah, you could win. You could do better. And they would say, well, how was everything? And then Kenya said, no, that modeling, she was a mess. And if I hadn't been there, it would have been worse than that. And they said, what's going on, Sheree? And then Candy said in a confessional, I sure hope Sheree ain't fooling us and telling us that ain't fooling us and playing with us and telling us she ain't got no fashions when she really do got fashions. Then it switched to the last scene. Sheree was getting out of her car going to the restaurant, and then a black car drove up and the man got out, and then they showed it was Apollo. So Apollo sat down and Sheree said, ooh, Apollo, I'm so glad that I want to talk to you. You say, I'm so glad that you want to talk to me too, because we're friends. I want to know how you was doing after all the stuff you've been through and stuff. And Tyrone was, I mean, not Tyrone. And then so Tyrone did show up the fashion show. But anyway, Apollo said, yeah, afraid you didn't support me, afraid you left me on the streets to rot. He said, but I'm doing okay despite that. And then so she said, yeah, you know, me and you are good friends. She said, yeah, I had a relationship with Tyrone. And Apollo said, yeah, me and Tyrone was in prison together. And he was saying Tyrone mentioned that to me, and I thought Tyrone was just lying. I didn't think too much of it. And then when he got out, she told me, yeah, you know, when he got out, I was supposed to meet him in Philadelphia. Do you know he stood me up and ghosted me? He said, Sheree, you know, men will tell you anything in jail that they love you and all that kind of stuff. And then have another